Bing.
Yep, I see the live thing. Okay, so hey everyone. Well, it's Friday, which means that today is the sixth edition
Yep.
of the Big East Coast Bias Season Preview Hangout. My name's Chris Novak, along with Robert O'Neill once again. You may notice that I have been wearing different hats each time we've done this so far. I believe the first one I wore a Falcons hat. I know I mixed in a Black Yankees hat as well as a Royals hat. Recently, I might have worn a Cubs hat on one of them. I don't remember. I did or didn't. But
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Minnesota North Stars hat, which has absolutely nothing to do with the team that we're talking about today, so I can't make any type of segues whatsoever.
Well, got Dunkin' Donuts. That's got a little something to do with the team we're talking about today.
A little bit. Slightly.
There's a lot of Dunkin' Donuts in New York. It'll be better Monday for the Providence one because.
Oh, that'll be a very, very easy segue to make there.
Anyway, two of us again today.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we weren't able to procure anybody for this edition of the Hangout. Hopefully, in our next few, we may be able to.
I know Providence and Butler we do for sure. It's going to be more than two of us, so.
Yes, we'll see what happens for Georgetown and Villanova. If not, we'll just do that. Hey.
Yeah, well, 2 weeks till season. We're
exactly 2 weeks, 14 days to go. So that's quite enjoyable to say the least. Friday nights and pretty much your weeknights and weekends will be filled with college basketball before you know it. So get ready, folks.
Yep, we're in the home stretch.
Yeah, pretty much. So last time you joined us here, we talked about Xavier.
Yep.
With Phil, and that was a very fun podcast that we did, or hangout, whatever you want to call it. And this time around, we are talking about the St. John's Red Storm.
Yeah. Probably the team with the most turnover out of anyone in the Big East, if not college basketball.
Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find a team that went through that much turmoil from not only the roster but the coaching staff as well has been overhauled completely, and it's going to be a transition year. Might even be an understatement for what's going to happen this year in Jamaica, Queens. And it's a little, I don't know if I'd use the word disappointing, but it's kind of a setback for a team that won 21 games and got back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since the 2000. Let's see, what's the last season that they made the NCAA tournament? The 2010-2011 season. That year they lost to Gonzaga in the first round. Last year the Johnnies lost to San Diego State in the first of the NCAA tournament. Interestingly enough, both of those seasons they went 21-12, so 21 wins seems to be their magic number.
Well, it's going to be a down year, which we'll get more into. But also, and we'll get more into this, if you pull back the scope a little bit and you look down the line, they're actually setting themselves up nicely.
Oh, absolutely. And like you mentioned, we're going to be talking about that later, as we sometimes do with the future forecasts that we typically do. Teams have good recruiting classes coming in and whatnot. I know we spent a good deal about that with Marquette.
Yeah. I mean, the tough thing with St. John's is, it doesn't even do us anything to talk about last year. Their leading returning scorer is, what's his name? Amar I can't say it.
Amar Alibegovic.
Yes. He's the leading returning scorer at 1.5 per game last year.
Yeah, and he's also, well, I'm not sure. Actually, no. Yeah, he leads in shots percentage in terms of how many shots he took last season with just 15.1%. His usage rate last year was only 14.4%.
They weren't a deep team last year. They went about 6 deep, and all 6 guys are gone.
Yeah. D'Angelo Harrison, gone. Rashid Jordan, gone. Sir Dominic Pointer, gone. Phil Green, gone. Bekpa, gone. Jamal Branch, gone.
I am actually surprised that D'Angelo Harrison didn't catch on in the NBA.
Yeah, me too, a little bit.
I'm not surprised that Sir Dominic Pointer did. You're always going to probably take guys that can do more than just score the ball, so that probably is Harrison's downfall.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we can talk about last year, but
Yeah, I mean this last year was interesting for St. John's. I guess if you could use that word. They started off the season magnificently, really. They went 11-1. They with their one loss being to Gonzaga.
Yep.
And that's not really a bad loss to take. That Gonzaga team made the Elite Eight, lost to Duke, the eventual national champion. And picked up wins on the road at Syracuse. Picked up a win against St. Mary's, which was a quality win over Minnesota. Another quality win. Not much in the way to speak of other than that because they played teams like NJIT, LIU Brooklyn, Fairleigh Dickinson, who was one of the worst teams in all of Division I last season, Fordham, Long Beach State, Tulane. Then the Big East season started, and, well...
They were a weird team in conference play.
They were a very strange team in conference play last year.
Because they opened the season 3 straight losses in Newark, and then 2 home losses to Butler and Villanova.
Which
went to Providence and beat them handedly.
Very, very handily, 83-70.
Lost in Rosemont.
In overtime, no less.
Won at Marquette.
By 3.
At home against Marquette. And then in the middle.
That's right. They had the game against Duke, another non-conference matchup that
which is a game they were in for a while.
Oh, they were in that. They were very much competing in that game.
They were in that up till near the end, because that was Coach K's 1000th win, so that was a whole big thing, at the Garden and stuff. And then they went to Creighton and lost, and then beat Providence again. Went to Hinkle and lost. And then took care of business against Creighton DePaul Xavier. Went to Georgetown and lost. And then kind of went on a little bit of a roll.
Yeah, they won 4 of their last 5 games, which probably helped them out greatly with regards to their standing in the tournament.
Yeah, and then they had that Villanova game to finish Big East play, and, that was just – that was bad. even though Rasheed Jordan did dunk on Dylan Ennis.
He did. That was a hell of a dunk. Yeah. I'll tell you that much.
And then they couldn't beat Providence a third time, but by that point, I guess they were already safely in the tournament. I mean,
yeah, I mean it's very hard to take out a team that started off 11-1 in conference play, non-conference play rather, and then went 10-8 with wins against a few tournament teams in Providence. And 2 wins over Providence,
2 wins
over Xavier, and win over Georgetown as well.
So they got wins when they needed to.
Exactly, yeah.
But that was last year. Their top 6 scorers are gone. Their coach is gone. Their athletic director is gone.
It's a brand new look for the Red Storm in general. So this is
And, I wasn't surprised when Rasheed Jordan and Chris Obekpa didn't stick around for Chris Mullen. I think Steve Lavin gave those 2 a lot of leeway.
I agree.
I don't want to sit here and bash Steve Lavin. I like Steve Lavin as a person. He's a good guy, great TV analyst, but he did not know how to manage these guys.
Yeah, it's tough when you look the talent on St. John's the past few years. I don't want to say it wasn't maximized, but certainly I think that they could have had better results in the past few seasons.
Well, yeah. I mean, take 2013, 2014, you have Jakar Sampson, who's in the NBA now, and they still were pretty uninspired in that year.
Yeah, I mean, they started off 0-5 in conference play.
So now
they dug themselves in so deep, and even though they won even though they ended up finishing 10-8, it was like, well, you take even like two wins there, you're 12-6. You're probably in the NCAA tournament, not playing the NIT against Robert Morris, who they lost to.
Yeah. So, no, I don't think Steve Lavin maximized the talent, and I think ultimately that was his downfall.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So now, coach is gone. Top 6 guys are gone. It also didn't help for Steve Lavin that he wasn't able to get what's his name? Kid that went to Kentucky from New Jersey.
Oh, Briscoe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the other kid who goes to LSU now. Brandon Sampson. Brendan Sampson.
Oh, yeah. Sampson.
Yeah. So, he didn't do himself any favors recruiting. But now,
I think Mullen might have been in when Sampson committed, though. If I recall correctly.
April 20th, yeah. But, I mean, I think Sampson originally committed to St. John's, and then...
Yeah, because Mullen was hired on March 30th.
All right. Yeah, no, that was not Steve Lavin's fault then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Briscoe might have committed
Briscoe was like last October.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right. Because I'm seeing now him and Labissiere committed in November of last year. So,
but look, we knew D'Angelo Harrison would be gone. We knew Sir Dominic Pointer would be gone. We knew Phil Green would be gone.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't think anyone actually thought that Chris Mullen was going to keep Jordan and Obekba.
So Jamal Branch was also going to be gone because he was a senior. So
yeah. So off the bat, it was going to be a tough job for whoever got the job.
Yeah, but now, I mean,
and I'll say it: when they hired Chris Mullen, I wasn't that inspired. I know the story. He went there. He's close to the program, sure. Never coached a game in his life at any level. At least not as a head coach. He might have had some sort of assistant role at some point in his NBA time, but I think he was always front office.
Yeah, he was always in the front office.
So I was uninspired, but then he goes out and he builds his coaching staff of guys that he got Hoiberg's top guy.
Yep. Abdul Massa.
He got John Calipari's top guy.
Slice Worsen.
He got one more big guy in the New York, New Jersey coaching ranks, I believe.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're St. John's.
It was Slice and
let's see
here. Yeah.
Greg St. Jean, and he also hired his former running mate from Golden State, Mitch Redmond.
Mitch Richmond, yeah.
Mitch Richmond. Not Redmond.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a really good coaching staff.
Yeah, it's a fantastic staff.
And that's what we needed to do, and that's why they've been able to so far come out and actually put together a good recruiting class for 2016 already.
Quite a good one. It's not getting there yet because it's obviously not finished out, but with what they've got so far, good things are on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, getting Shamori Pons to stay in New York was big. Shamori Pons going to be a very good player.
That's a first name that I've heard very different variances of. I've pronounced it Shamori. I've heard people pronounce it Shamori. So we'll have to wait on that. But I have a feeling that's going to be something that we're going to mispronounce forever.
Oh yeah. But really, I think it's a good class right now. It could become a great class next year if one guy goes their way.
Yeah.
And it's Raleigh Elkins.
Yeah.
Elkins. And so far, actually Thon Maker now too. That could be a wild card.
That could be a wild card because they are in on him all of a sudden. So
anyway, moral of the story: Chris Mullen not a super inspired hire, but he put together a great staff, and they've hit the recruiting trail hard so far. And if they can start getting these guys from New York to stay in New York, I think I saw Shamori Pons is like the highest ranked local recruit since Mo Harkless.
Yeah, yeah.
So
almost 99% sure that that's correct.
Yeah. So it's been a while.
Yeah, Mo Harkless, who of course is now in the NBA. So Pons follows that path, then he's in on something. But yeah, I'm looking at their verbal commits page. They have Alkins on their radar, Bruce Brown, Ager Lamar. Mario Kegler's probably going to Mississippi State, so that's out of the question. Then Rakosevic and Edris Adebayo. And then for 2017, guys like Trevon Duval, Nate Pierre-Louis, Hamidou Diallo, Jordan Tucker, Andre Rafas, who I believe visited St. John's for their tip-off last week.
Yeah.
And then Mohamed Bamba and Billy Preston, and then, of course, 2008, guys like Nas Reed and Louis King, Demetrius Mims, Javonte Smart, Javon Cornerly.
They also didn't they have a 7th grader or something visit the other day?
I think it's this weekend. They're hosting a 2020 recruit, which if you're keeping score at home, that means they're hosting an 8th grader.
When was he born? Like 2002?
Probably, yeah. Well, no, but wait, yeah, because if he's in 8th grade, he's probably minimum of 13 going on 14. So he's probably born in 2002 or 2001.
Which, that's one thing that might end up being not as much of a benefit, is you're just going to, at a point, get people who have no idea who Chris Mullin and Mitch Richmond actually are.
Pretty much, yeah. But
you know, I still think overall having those guys on your staff, Mullen brought in Mitch Richmond because, we're showing a recruit around, let's put the Hall of Fame rings on. You know, that makes a difference.
And to me, it's weird. Maybe it's just because I'm from this area, but I really don't understand. Maybe they're just doing it wrong. It's like it's such an easy sell to me, at least. Like, you get to play like half your home games at Madison Square Garden.
Well, yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously some terrific college basketball venues out there like Rupp, Cameron Indoor, the Dean Dome, Assembly Hall, Cole Center in Wisconsin. But it's like, you can play like majority of your games here in New York at Madison Square Garden. There's your selling point. Boom.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's all it takes.
I just feel like it should be that easy, and for some reason, for St. John's, for what seems like forever, they just haven't been able to capitalize on that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's the start of a turnaround for them.
Yeah, for their sake. And off that, I was thinking about this question. I know I have my answer to it. I know it was discussed a lot last year. It's been discussed in recent years. How much of a how do I phrase this question? Do you think the Big East needs St. John's to be good in order for them to be like taken seriously, or for them to be like well respected nationally?
First of all, thank you for that question, Mike Francesa. I think in a perfect world, yeah. I mean, you have St. John's as a good team. You get the New York market. You have DePaul as a good team. You get the Chicago market. You have Georgetown be Georgetown. You get the DMV. I mean, but you have Villanova take – well, I don't know, because from what I've heard, actually, most of Philadelphia is indifferent towards Villanova.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like that way too.
But the point is, yeah, if you have St. John's and DePaul be good, you get those markets, sure. Butler, you get a good chunk of Indiana. You're never going to get all of Indiana, but in a perfect world, yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So here's my thing. it's like a Captain Obvious thing. Like, of course, if a New York team is good, that's going to do well for a conference in terms of getting respect nationally, so to speak. But to another point, St. John's has not succeeded very, very much in the past decade or so. And the Big East for a time was the best conference in America in spite of that. So it's like it doesn't.
It's different than it is in like pro sports because for college you don't really care that much about ratings. People are going to watch a tournament, and that's the one you care about in terms of ratings.
Exactly.
So I mean, yeah, it's not a huge deal that St. John's isn't good and getting that New York market.
Yeah, and I mean that to like not disrespect St. John's or whatever what they've done, but win-loss record. Just look at it for the past few years and look at when the Big East was thriving. St. John's weren't really part of that.
Yeah, no, and I mean it's different too because again with colleges, a decent chunk of your fan base comes from people that went there. So you can have people that went there that now live in any other part of the country and they'll be watching, but you don't have the city because the alums moved out.
Bingo.
So no, I don't think it's a big deal in college basketball.
Now, of course, I say that, and the year that the Big East brought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams to the NCAA tournament in 2011, St. John's was one of them. So they were part of that ridiculous – God knows how they pulled that off. I don't know. But they were part of that club that was able to be in that tournament. But that was when they kind of started to turn it around a little bit, but then kind of sputtered again.
Yeah.
That was Lavin's first year as head coach.
Yeah. So, I mean – but no, again, to answer your question – I don't think it matters. I mean, I don't
think it matters either. I think it's just like, oh, no kidding. Of course, things are going to look better if a New York team does well. Duh.
Well, it'll look better if the New York team does well because guys like Mike Francesa will talk about them then.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the only difference. All right. This is good so far.
Yeah.
I like this.
We're not talking about Seton Hall. We're talking about St. John's.
Yeah.
It's about New Jersey. It's about New York.
God. It's fantastic.
Anyways, on to...
we're not going to go down Mike Francesa wormhole.
No, that's... What is St. John's plus? What are they good at? What are they good at this year? That's a good question because the roster's completely turned over and they're not going to look like the same team that they did a season ago, to say the very least. I mean, they've got Alabegovic, and then from there, you look at the roster. They have a transfer coming in from Pitt and Durant Johnson, who was eligible immediately to play. So he has some familiarity with the Big East. I was looking him up. He played in 2012, 2013, the final season of the old Big East Conference, so to speak. He came off the bench, averaged 4.3 points per game, shot 41.4% from the field and 37.9% from three. Pretty solid numbers. But
you also have to point out, though, that he tore his ACL and, having a torn ACL, got suspended for a whole season for violating school policy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
So, got a couple things that he's going to have to come back from: medical red flags, personality red flags.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to come up a little bit, but we'll see how the graduate transfer from Baltimore, Maryland does. I think he can be a good, if he cleans his act up, I think he can be a solid player for them, nice little role player for them, I think.
I mean, he might even be a starter just because.
Yeah, no, of course, but I mean, if you look at if you look at our projected lineup right now for St. John's, you have Marcus Lovett, who still has not been cleared by the NCAA, I believe, and so you might have Musini in there as their point guard, and then Malik Ellison playing alongside him, and then Duran Johnson, Alabegovic, and then center Yankuba Sima.
Yeah. With Gethium Yakwe possibly in there.
Yes, exactly.
We're still trying to reclassify, and I would say it's too late at this point to do that. I don't know, reclassification is weird.
It can be very strange, yeah.
But yeah, these are all guys that are going to have. They're all good recruits, but they're all going to have some growing pains. Just
yeah. Especially when they're all playing together at the same time. I mean, teams like Kentucky, they can bring in like recruits and succeed immediately. But I mean, this is.
Well, yeah. I mean, if St. John's had 5-star guys coming in, they'd be fine.
Well, of course, but that's not what we're dealing with here.
Me or you could go coach them and get them to the tournament.
Yeah, probably.
But it's a bunch of 3 and 4-star guys, including you got a couple guys in Musini and Alabegovic, who are from Italy. So, I'm not saying the American game is fully different, but there are differences that they're going to have to pick up.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
The biggest one probably being speed.
Yeah.
Because, you got teams like Marquette and Creighton that can go to Italy and just kind of roll through their professional teams. So that's kind of saying something about talent level over there compared to here.
I definitely agree there. I know Mike Hopkins wrote that with regards to Alabegovic, he can probably play the center role if Sima isn't physically ready.
Yeah.
And they could go with a guard-heavy small ball lineup next year.
It's something you're going to see a lot in the Big East, as we've said.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, that's what you're seeing out of Villanova, who's everyone's trying to catch. And, you can't beat them, join them.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. So, yeah, we've pretty much discussed in fact, this team's going to go through some growing pains. Let's talk about St. John's and their non-conference schedule, as we so often do here on this program.
It's not great. It's very local. Very local.
Very, very local.
And, St. John's actually the first time since we've done this where it's going to be tough for me to dole out automatic wins because I really don't know what to expect from them.
Yeah, exactly. It's very tough to gauge this team because there's so much unknown.
I mean, they opened with Wagner, should beat them. Wagner went 10-20 last year in the NEC.
Yep, projected to be number 256. Well, they're projected as the 256th team in Division 1A by Ken Pomeroy. And they play UMBC, who is projected to be 332.
Oh, they went 4-26 last year. UMBC went 4-26 last year.
Oh God. Yeah, no, that's not very good. Yeah, they've got them projected. And then they play Rutgers, who is projected to be the worst team in Division 1 next season as far as power conference teams go.
I mean, we should just do it that way then for the non-conference. Just if a team is ranked lower than St. John or higher than St. John's, we'll just give them a win just because for the sake of this. I mean.
Yeah, and Ken Palm has them starting off 3-0, and then they play a very good Vanderbilt team. As part of the Maui Invitational.
That's a pretty loaded field.
Oh, that's a very loaded field.
That's Indiana, right?
Yeah, they'll play the winner of Indiana Wake Forest, and then to be determined for their final game there.
I don't like St. John's against any of those three teams.
Ugh, neither do I. That
Honest with
might
you.
be a very brutal trip to Maui. They should be lucky that they should just feel happy that they're going to Maui. I mean, I'd be happy if I was going to Maui. Shoot.
I mean, that's how DePaul took it last year.
Yeah. They're happy to be their approach. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Take a free trip to Hawaii in the end of November.
Kidding me? Oh, God.
Anyway.
And on the other side of the field, features the likes of. Oh, let's see. So it's not Indiana or Wake Forest. The other teams in this field include Kansas, Northern Colorado, UNLV, Cal Poly, and UCLA.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What about shouldn't Chaminade be in there too?
And Chaminade.
Yes. Okay, so from what I'm seeing, St. John's will go. Let's see, it's game 1, and then they play Wake Forest, Indiana, and then
they will play either Kansas, Chaminade, UNLV, or UCLA.
I like them against Chaminade.
Yeah, me too. They can go 1-2 and feel good about themselves being 4-2.
I don't think Chaminade's going to pull it up. Who did Chaminade? Did they beat Texas a couple of years ago?
Yeah, they beat Texas a few years ago, I believe.
Yeah, so I like them against Chaminade. They get anyone else in the field, they might be in some trouble.
Yeah, that might be a. Might not be a.
Those games are all on the ESPN family too, so figures ESPN picks the Big East games that makes the conference look bad.
Yeah, no, Texas. Not only did Texas lose to Chaminade, they lost to them by 13.
Yeah, that's Rick Barnes for you.
Oh my God! Not only that was their first game. That was the first game in the Maui Invitational. They lost by 13 to Chaminade. Jesus, Texas.
If we're saying stuff like this already, the NCAA full season preview hangout is going to be fantastic.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
So, yeah, if St. John's gets Chaminade, which they probably should, they're the two worst teams in the field.
Yep.
St. John's can get a game in this and come home 1-2, and I don't know if they can be too upset about that.
No.
I'm not a moral victory guy, but if you face, Wake or Indiana and you only lose by, single digits, sure.
It's like Mizzou playing close with Arizona last year and playing close with Purdue, beating Purdue. Did they beat Purdue?
I think they did.
Oh my gosh!
I know.
What a bad.
Mizzou goes to Arizona this year.
Oh boy, that'll be fun.
Anyway, yeah.
No, they lost to Purdue. They got dump trucked.
Oh yeah. So put St. John's at 1-2 through that. So what's that? 4-2 for the year, coming back to the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to Fordham for a game. Fordham, the home of Vin Scully. Just have to mention it every time. They weren't good last year. I would assume KenPom has them winning. Fordham also. Fordham had the A10 Rookie of the Year who transferred, I believe.
Yeah, to
yes, to Villanova.
Yeah, Eric Pascal.
Yep.
Well, Pascal, however you pronounce it.
Yep.
And then they play St. Francis of New York, Niagara, and then they host Syracuse.
Does KenPom have all three of those previous games as wins?
They have them losing to Fordham by 3.
Really?
And then they have them winning against St. Francis and Niagara.
So that puts them at 6-3 going into Syracuse.
I mean they don't account for.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean we're just gonna call that 1-2. So, so 6-3.
So let's see. Hold on. So 3 wins.
And then 1-2. So.
And then 1-2. So that's 4-2.
Yeah.
4-3. 5-3, 6. Yep, 6-3. And they have them losing at Syracuse, or losing to Syracuse at home, I should say.
Is that the Garden?
That is at the Garden. Yes.
Yeah, I figured. Maybe you get a nice story out of it. Chris Mullen returning to. Is that their first game in the Garden?
It would appear no. St. Francis is their first home game of the Garden.
Wow, way to bust the narrative.
Yeah, jeez.
Okay. I mean, maybe Syracuse not. Are they playing for anything this year?
Syracuse. Let me see. I think so. I want to say yes.
Yeah, I think they are. I think because they took their ban when they were. It was a 1-year ban, and they already took it when they were out of contention.
Yeah, they're on 5 years probation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be playing for something this year.
All right, so Syracuse, that would be 6-4. I assume they're beating Incarnate Word and NJIT.
Yeah, so they have them projected at 8-4.
All right.
I could see it. Maybe I think between 6 and 8 wins is probably pretty realistic for them in non-conference, just in case they do happen to drop a game to one of these really bad teams.
Yeah, then they play South Carolina at the Mohegan Sun.
Yes. For some reason that's not listed. I don't know why, but it's just for some reason that's not listed. Villanova's game against Oklahoma and Pearl Harbor isn't listed on KenPom for whatever.
Neutral sites.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but
anyway, that game.
South Carolina's gonna be pretty good this year too.
Carolina's not a bad team. They're returning a lot from last year, and they were actually about 500 last year. So I would be willing to put that at the South Carolina win right now.
Yeah, so 5.
Which, sure.
8-5, 7-6, 6-7.
I mean, if you go by this logic that teams like Missouri and Rutgers won 9 games last year, and you're getting 8 right there, you're not on as bad as those teams. So you got that going for you.
Exactly.
And I don't think St. John's is that bad.
No, I don't think they're that bad either.
They're bad in terms of the Big East.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be like middle of the road in terms of nationally.
Yeah.
Mediocre is the word that I want to use. I don't think they're going to be god-awful.
No. So, and then conference play, yeah, we'll see. I guess what does KenPom have them in conference?
KenPom has them favored in 1 game.
Yeesh.
And that's their home matchup versus DePaul. Closest margins.
I really don't think they're going to go, 1-17 or whatever it is in conference. So
he has them projected at 5-13.
Okay, so you had that.
His record is 11-17, not counting anything else that's in there.
So about 13-20.
Yeah. So
I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either.
That's not bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not a bad projection.
Very bad. Yeah, but
I will say though, their first Big East game in the Garden against Georgetown, that's going to be a big deal.
Oh, of course it's going to be.
You got Mullen back. I would assume Luke Carnesek is going to be there. If anything is right in this world, John Thompson Jr. will be there. We can pump out some sweater game content, and everything will be good.
St. John's, another team that has the weird home away stretch to start the season. It goes at home versus Creighton, away at Providence, home versus Xavier, away at Marquette, home versus Georgetown, away at Butler, home against Marquette, away at Seton Hall, home versus Villanova, away at Xavier, home versus Butler, and away versus Georgetown. And then they have an away game against Villanova, 2 homes, 2 aways, and a home.
Well, they share one of their buildings with, 2 other teams.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's going to happen.
2 other teams and Billy Joel, technically.
Mm-hmm, pretty much. He might as well be paying rent there at the Garden. We'll be singing the national anthem tonight at the World Series.
He will, and Piazza's doing the first pitch.
Yeah, so the Mets are bringing out all their big guns. Well, hopefully they bring out their bats, too. So, 13-20-ish, 13-19 it would probably be. Yeah, I mean, it's 13-20. Maybe they win a Big East game. Go for
I think your only expectation this year has to be get double-digit wins and look for growth throughout the season.
Pretty much. That has to be the projection in Jamaica Queens for right now. Just get to that double digits. I mean, if you don't, something went wrong. But
let Chris Mullen prove that he knows how to coach. Yeah.
Let his assistants do the magic elsewhere and see what happens from there.
Exactly. I think one of the issues is going to be that one of his assistants, whose name I consistently forget, the one that's not Slice, who came from Iowa State,
NASA,
will be a hot commodity on the coaching carousel.
I agree.
He's coaching out with him right now if he's stuck around for another month, but he's from Brooklyn, so he went to St. John's. So I don't blame him. But I do think that teams will come calling for him.
Yeah, I agree.
But you got to just put up with and see what happens.
Pretty much, yeah. So
All
right, let's answer some questions here.
We have questions today. We have several questions.
Woo.
What a time to be alive.
Hooray.
All right, let's go back to these here. PJ Clark, who gave us all of these, which super appreciative.
Very much.
Who most likely is going to be the primary scorer? Well, I'm going to start this off. I have two answers. I can see Deron Johnson or Marcus Levette if he gets cleared.
Those are going to be my two choices as well, so we agree.
Just because I think Levette, coming from Chicago is such a big benefit for anyone because you're playing against good teams, playing against good talent. So, I mean, it's not on the same level as the Big East, but it does help you ease in more than like those guys I mentioned earlier coming over from Italy. And, for Deron Johnson, as long as he can come back from torn ACL, which there's no reason to believe that it can't be done anymore, given what and he's got the veteran. He's been there before, so I'd have to go with one of those two guys. Biggest impact freshman would probably be Marcus Levette.
I'd say Levette. Musini maybe also. Plays.
It's going to be interesting to see how they use Levette and Musini, and it's going to be interesting to see how they use both of them when Shamori Pons comes into the fold.
I agree with that as well. They can go with a three-guard lineup. We'll see.
Exactly how good is Musini? I don't, right off the bat, love to judge foreign players. Everyone has said that he's pretty good, but until he's out there, playing against talent in this country, it's so tough to judge.
Yeah, I know an article written by Zach Bruseller, I hope I pronounced that right, in the New York Post. Mullen is very confident in both Levette and Musini. He said that what I've seen on the court, their experience is beyond their years. They handle themselves very well. They're very composed and confident. I think they'll gradually gain confidence, but talent-wise and skill-wise, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
right.
Still
out, but early returns say he's going to be pretty darn good. So we'll see how the work and practice translates to the games themselves.
Is there any chance at all that this team makes the NCAA tournament? No. No.
There's always a chance.
I guess, but
highly unlikely.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Maybe I don't even know what I would be able to compare them to from the past couple of years.
Yeah, seriously. I wouldn't know either.
I guess I highly doubt it. What is the ceiling for this year's team and this group of freshmen for the rest of their careers? Possible top 10, 15 team in time. I can answer the second part of that first. I think it's definitely possible they're a top 10 team at some point if the recruiting continues to go well. Because that's really what it's all going to come down to. How good are the players you're bringing in? I mean, that's college basketball for you.
Mm-hmm. And how good is the coaching as well? So.
Exactly. What is the ceiling for this year's team? I'm willing to put them at 15 wins as a ceiling.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't think 500 is a realistic goal. Just because 500 puts you in the top half of the Big East. I mean, and they're not going to do that. So,
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say 15 wins right now. But that's just all the moving parts that they have and what they're going against, because the Big East is going to be a very strong league this year.
Yeah. How big will the loss of Chris Obekba be? I mean,
if you lose one of the nation's top shot blockers, you're going to probably feel that effect at some point in the season.
Yeah, and especially you couple it with losing Dominic Pointer, it's going to be felt. There's going to be a lot of working the ball inside against this team with a lot more ease than you would have seen in the past.
Mm-hmm. Defensively, there will be a bit of a regression, to say the least.
You know, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's going to be a tough year to watch if you're a fan of this team.
Oh, definitely.
And you just have to hope that it gets better and, see the course. And then it's that much more rewarding when you finally get it through and get your wins going.
Yep.
Last one. Please tell me this team can win a Big East tournament game. I've seen 2 in person. I'm still scarred for life. You know what?
They can win a Big East tournament game.
They can. They play DePaul or, another higher seed team on that Wednesday night. Thursday?
Wednesday, Thursday, one of the two.
Yeah. They get some of their fans in the building. Chris Mullen gets a little bit of that Garden magic. Sure.
Anything's possible.
Sure. Yeah. No, sure. I have no problem with that. Maybe even Creighton, depending on how Creighton ends up.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That's it for questions.
Yep. I think that about wraps it up here, to be honest.
What else do we have? Yeah, it was kind of a bummer that talking about last year did nothing for us. This would have went a little longer, but...
Well, it's pointless to talk about last year and be remiss about it because no one is returning.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Except for Alabegovic, so...
If you are a St. John's fan and you find yourself missing Steve Lavin, he will be on Fox 1 for the biggest halftime show, and I do believe they're bringing back the weekly show.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. No word yet on a pregame type show, but we'll see. I would assume Steve Lavin will be on that too. He replaced
Ben Howland, who's now...
Well, yeah, but Ben Howland wasn't there last year.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's a good coach over there. Gives you that perspective. If you are going to a St. John's game from, you're a visiting fan, you go to New York City. It's an okay place. Been there twice. Not a huge fan either time.
Varying circumstances, though.
Yeah, one time it was really hot, and the other time it was okay.
Yeah, the other time was okay.
It was okay. But want somewhere to eat around Carnesecca? I have no idea. I've never been to Queens except when I went to Citi Field,
which is in a totally different neighborhood.
So, but if you're at the Garden,
nowhere near Jamaica, Queens. If you're near the Garden,
actually, the guy to ask would be Dan Rubenstein because the SB Nation main offices are right there, and everything you see on Easy Call usually right around the Garden.
Yep, on the Upper West Side or somewhere in Manhattan. I mean, you're going to find a good place to eat somewhere. Just don't go to any chain restaurants.
If you have some time to kill, you can take yourself to Penn Station and head up to the Barclays Center and go to Boomwich.
Great place. Great place.
Or you could Head to Keste. You want some pizza? I know giving pizza recommendations in New York is a losing battle, but
New York's got great Neapolitan pizza.
Oh yeah, yeah. Stuff and it's not. There are a bunch of different styles. It's not just slices.
Nope.
And that'll do it for food.
Well,
we can't even do much of the NBA stuff because St. John's not a ton of NBA players. Mo Harkless, who we talked about, is in Portland.
And Jakar Sampson in Philadelphia, but
I haven't heard of either.
Meta in LA.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's inactive right now, but
yeah,
Lakers took a terrible loss the other day.
Yeah, they really did.
But I haven't heard of Sampson or Harkless doing anything of note yet. It's been one game, but if you do want to watch Mo Harkless, Portland Phoenix tonight at 10:30 Eastern. Not on anywhere, so. Actually, League Pass, I think, is still free for the week, so.
Yes, you can check them out on League Pass. So.
And the 76ers don't play, so. Oh, yeah, they do. They play Utah, so you can go in Hayward, too. I think you never actually happened. So yeah, you want to see your St. John's guys in the NBA? There you go.
All right.
Yeah, that's about it here.
Okay, so that does it here today for season preview hangout. We talked about St. John's, mostly about their future and about how their ceiling for this year pretty much is the goal, of course, is to get double-digit wins.
Yep.
For their sake, hopefully they do it. St. John's fans, just keep the faith in this transition year and hope things turn out for the better in 2016 and beyond.
Look, rebuilding can be tough,
but
it's very rewarding when you stick the course and you see your team in the postseason, even if they're disappointing you there.
Mm-hmm.
But, Monday, we will be back Monday. We got to do 3 of these next week to be ready in time.
Mm-hmm.
No, we get to do 3 of them next week.
Yeah.
Back Monday. We'll be Monday at night, so because we're talking about Providence, and Mike Hopkins actually has a real job that requires his attention, so he can't do it till nighttime.
Yep. So we'll at night.
Monday night, talk about Chris Dunn. I assume some other stuff, probably mostly Chris Dunn. Get your questions in. Providence questions would be great because I can guarantee you Mike knows more about Providence than either of us do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say we don't know much about Providence, but Mike's a big Providence guy. Mike does all our Providence stuff.
Absolutely.
And then Wednesday we're doing, I think Georgetown and Butler tied, but I think Butler was technically second, Georgetown was third, so Wednesday we're doing Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
Friday we're doing Butler with Mike Murtaugh.
Mm-hmm.
And by next Friday, we'll be a week away from the season. So we got some content coming too. Probably not till Monday. But we're doing top centers.
Yep, which will be interesting.
Last top 5 season previews.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a written version of what we've been doing here. Possibly some preseason NCAA awards, maybe.
We'll see. I could see it.
But yeah, fun time coming here. Thank you for joining us. You want to take us out?
Yep. And we'll be back on Monday. So see you then, y'all.